Hi, friends. I'm actually standing because I just ate, so I used my foot to draw the chair in for the same effect. Hi everyone. This is going to be a long monthly favorite. We had gems for the new year and I categorized it in lifestyle channels that I wanted to mention: brushes, makeup, and nails. If you wanted to skip over to specific product or topic, you can check out not only the timestamps in the description box, but the chapters here along the time bar. I wanted to start with lifestyle and give you an eczema update. Almost completely gone. I do have some scarring here a little bit just from the scratching, and the largest one can be found on the front of my left shin. That was the worst patch out of all of them. And what I discovered is that it definitely was caffeine that was causing it. I say definitely because from removing it just 5 days, I experienced the most acute response in terms of the healing. There was no scratching, there was no itching, no inflammation, no pussing. It just was drier and I didn't have the urge to scratch it, and the patches became significantly less dried and began to look like my normal skin. So the reason probably being is because for a very long time, I started my mornings with a cortado, which is espresso and half. Probably not a great idea to hit my system with caffeine at that early in the morning. So I experimented with, okay, having it after I've been awake for at least 90 minutes after breakfast, and it still was not going. So I decided to look, you just got to get rid of it for 30 days at least. And again, as I mentioned, even after 5, the significant improvement was just outrageous. So I decided to stick with it, but still experiment. I think it was a great way for me to learn more about my body and how it responds to caffeine. And when I did have it, now I'm more sensitized to it. So I kind of get a little bit of the jitters. They're not significant. I don't think the same way I feel if I had an actual full cup of coffee. The most I just have is 1 shot of espresso. And at most, I could only have it twice a week. In the morning, after breakfast, again, after I've been awake for quite some time and early enough so the caffeine can work itself out of my system, so it's not going to heavily interfere with my circadian rhythm. I'm still able to fall asleep successfully later, have my REM sleep on lock. So those have been my strategies and it's been wonderful. I feel free, fam, because when I had this eczema, I felt trapped, couldn't figure out what was causing this, since in my entire life, I have not experienced eczema like I did, and I felt frustrated because I felt I was doing so well in my nutrition and everything else and all other components in my life, working out, training, eating well, waking up early, going to bed at the same time every day, taking my walks, just all these protocols didn't seem to be working. And then I zeroed in on probably what was the cause, and typically in eczema land, coffee could be a problem. It is a plant compound, and depending on your bio individuality can affect you more than others. And I guess I didn't want to admit it was the espresso because I've had cappuccinos every day for a long time with a pastry, no less. And I'm like, if I didn't get eczema then, why in the heck am I getting it now? And maybe it's because I've cleaned up my eating so much, there's just no room for error. My body maybe became super sensitive. I just turned 38 in January, so the changes are happening and it's all good. I think I'm happy that I'm in a position to discover these changes, how to navigate them, and I'm just thrilled that my eczema has gone into remission somewhat, right? I have been monitoring it, just kind of seeing what foods that I eat can trigger any itchiness. I know for sure just hot, dry environments like Bay's apartment where the heat is on no matter what. That could cause a little bit of irritation. My showers are still kept short and they're not hot. They're warm, lukewarm preferably, but sometimes it's tough. I know I became a little bit of a wuss. I stopped my cold therapy showering and now it's tough to get back into. But we're gonna try it out in a few weeks. Maybe I should just do it tomorrow. Stop being a coward. And I wanted to share that with you because I see a lot of eczema content online, like how to tackle it, what to do. It really all comes down to the individual. You have to experiment with what you're eating, your environment, and observe all these different elements that could contribute positively or negatively to your eczema condition. I know a lot of people say, cut out this, cut out that. I can't really recommend anything because, again, this is what worked for me. But what I do recommend, and I know it's tough, is try not to use the topical steroids. That was my mistake. Because my dad, I love him so much, he was worried and he really wanted me to go to the dermatologist. And of course, the dermatologist was like, it's genetic. I'm like, I don't like that answer. I'm not going to accept just because my dad has psoriasis, I need to suffer through eczema too. Like, no, absolutely not. So I looked into, again, the possible causes, food contributors, all that stuff. And then, of course, when I ran across Rob Stewart's channel and how his eczema journey went, and I mentioned his channel maybe in my last favorites, or I forgot which favorite it is, where he highlighted coffee as a primary cause for eczema. And, I made the cut and I saw results, right? But before we encountered that healing, I had to go through topical steroid withdrawal symptoms where now your skin's freaking out because, like, where's the steroid? Where's the steroid? I don't know how to combat inflammation on my own. That's kind of like what happens on a cellular level. And everyone I spoke to about it says the same thing. You put that stuff on, it's great for a few weeks, and then you stop doing it, it's back with a vengeance. That's the problem. The inflammation comes back tenfold. It's itchier. The size is bigger in diameter. It's awful. So I know it's tough, especially if you have it really bad. I considered my case to be like mild compared to other cases I've seen on the internet. It can be uncomfortable. It can keep you up at night, and it's just awful, right? So if you want instantaneous relief, I get it, but know that it comes with consequences. When you stop using that stuff, it's like worse. So try to kind of zero in on your diet, what foods that I know typically foods that are high in salicylates could be an issue for eczema prone conditions. Again, coffee, high salicylate. I couldn't have avocados. I couldn't have a lot of stuff. I cut it all out of my diet and it's been going very well. So I just wanted to share that with you if you are undergoing a similar thing. Sticking with the nutrition stuff, I have the MiiR stainless steel food canister. Now, this was a collaboration with Patagonia, and I've shared Patagonia here on my channel before with their canned food. Super luxe, okay? Let me tell you why this food canister comes in clutch. Well, first of all, you got the stainless steel interior. You have a plastic lining if you wanted to place food that you didn't want to mix. So you place it here, and the majority of your food goes in here. It keeps it hot or cold, depending, in the insulated materials you have here. And MiiR is known for their products to keep food and drink hot and cold. It's very sleek. Okay, I love it so much. Here's the thing. You might think this is only suitable for having food on standby when you're out and about. Let me tell you something. On days where timing is tight, for me, I cook mostly all my meals. Sometimes when you have to reheat food, it takes time. You gotta put it on the stove. I don't heat stuff in the microwave, okay? Gross. Except for like rice and potatoes, but meat, on the stovetop. Heat it up, mix everything together, eat, and then clean. I don't like leaving things in the sink. And yeah, I have a dishwasher here, but I don't use it. I just wash my dishes right away. If you can eliminate that step, but still get your protein in. On Saturday, for instance, I knew I had back-to-back things to do and had to go to the gym afterwards, and to devote time to heating up, eating, and then cleaning would easily add 20 or 30 minutes to my time slot, which would be too much. So what I did that morning, I cooked up my bison, okay? I heat up the rice and I put it all in here. I didn't go anywhere. I was in the apartment the entire time. So when I was done teaching, I just opened this up and went to town, was able to eat my food, and by the time I got to the gym, it already has been digested. And that's why I typically like to choose white rice and ground beef, because that is very easy to digest, especially if you're consuming that before a workout. And I didn't have to go outside with it. It's just there for when you need to be as time efficient as possible, but want to eat your food hot and ready. Oh my God. Yesterday I was in the car with Dad. He picked me up from work, and instead of waiting until I got home to eat, I had it ready already. Prepared it that morning when I had my breakfast. Put in again, I think it was a sweet potato and bison and asparagus in there. It was already hot to go when I opened it in the car, and it smells good, by the way. That has been tremendous. So the MiiR food canister, game changing. It's fantastic, and I think it a vital tool for those who are looking to fine-tune their nutrition. If they find it's tough to, bring food along because they don't like using microwaves either, or they're trying to cut on their food budget and not eat out as much, if they're trying to get their protein in, food prep doesn't have to be bland. Just cook what you like. I just think something like the MiiR food canister assists with those goals without it feeling overwhelming in the end, because that's what we're trying to avoid. We don't want to feel overwhelmed. We want to feel in control. Sometimes though, when we look ahead and predict how life can be very busy and chaotic, we can still have tools in our arsenal to help navigate that and just stay on track. I will post the Patagonia collaboration down below, but I'll also post the MiiR website because they have a whole lot with food and drink and keeping it hot and or cold. Fantastic. And because I've been cooking a lot more, most of my makeup budget has been going to knives and pans. A huge shout out to Chef Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn. Evelyn has a channel here on YouTube, but she has her business, ChefEvelyn.com, where she helps women cultivate their own culinary brands. Fantastic consultation program. But because she is in the industry or has worked in it for quite some time, she knows, okay, what knives and pans to buy. And Evelyn was so generous to make some recommendations to me, and one of those was the Wüsthof knife. When you start cooking more often, you realize having a good knife is important. And I bought the 6-inch Wüsthof chef's knife, Wüsthof, and it has been such a difference, okay? Because Bay's knives were something. So now to have a tool that can actually cut well, it just makes the experience more pleasant. I look forward to cooking now because I know I'm not gonna just put my all in trying to cut a shallot with the dull knife. I know, don't even imagine it. I also bought the Misen stainless steel pan in the 10, I think it's the 8 and 12 inch. Evelyn also recommended the Scan Pan non-stick. I have those as well. I really bought those for Bay because he likes non-stick stuff, but I do prefer stainless steel, and I was also looking into carbon steel from Made In. I did stick to stainless because seasoning is not that hard, but I do like the stainless because you can make a pan sauce from the bits from the chicken or the steak, whatever you decide to cook on there, and to do a few at one time is easier than if you just had the 8-inch. So I did order the Made In 10-inch stainless steel. I do have the Misen as well, and those are great. I bought Mom a Misen chef's knife 8-inch, and that's fantastic. So having these cooking tools, look at me. Look at me. It does make life a whole lot easier, and this is from someone, fam, okay, who bought their breakfast, lunch, and dinner and whatever in between those meals. Spend so much money on eating out because I just didn't give myself a chance. I'm like, I can't cook. I don't know what to... But when you put it into action and you do it more often, sure, it was a little rocky at the beginning, all right, finding the groove. But now that I do it more often, I feel more comfortable. I feel more confident in trying out new recipes and messing up. You know, it happens. The reason why I feel I'm successful now and have a few recipes unlocked is because I did mess up. Now I know for sure what not to do next time. And I think that's just a part of the process. But when you have the appropriate cooking tools for cookware, knives, and utensils, it just helps, right? It helps the process and experience feel more seamless. And it's encouraging because what you made is good. You want to do it again. And it just helps with not eating out so much if you're trying to save on that, or if you're trying to eat a more whole foods based diet and not so much ultra processed, ultra processed, I should say, because, you know, a steak is processed, obviously, but having the right tools on hand, I think it's vital, and you don't have to spend a fortune. One chef's knife, maybe paring knife, as Evelyn had recommended, a stainless steel pan or carbon steel if you want to go carbon steel, but you do have to season it to create that non-stick surface. And there are a lot of cooking channels on YouTube that will suggest must-have cookware and knives, and brands like Misen and Made-In, I think, make solid tools, right? Because something like All Clad is very expensive. It lasts forever. It's fantastic. But if you're just getting into this and you don't want to spend a fortune right off the bat, then I think those brands are you can consider them to start off your cookware journey with. Gua Sha, my Gua Sha tool. So this Gua Sha is from Primally Pure, and I try to do Gua Sha twice a week. I'm more comfortable with the process, you know, with the neck and all this stuff. I wanted to show this in particular because I think it unique in how it's designed, and because of the longer construction, it's easier to hold. So this ridging or this notch, I feel easier to hold than one that has like the typical groove. So this is from Audacité. It's blue sodalite, and the Primally Pure one is jade. This one is luxurious feeling, but it's also very heavy. I just feel it better to maneuver with the Primally Pure because it's lighter and, again, slightly smaller. And all these notches here, as well as the long notch along the backbone of the Gua Sha, you can like place it here on the neck, but I love it for this, for the chest. Oh my gosh, you could just get into that fascia easily because of the longer side. And I could argue you could do it with this too, but again, I feel the Primally Pure one is easier to maneuver because it's a little smaller and lighter, getting in the back of the neck, and these notches here along the jawline and also here under the eyes. All around fantastic tool. So between the two, I think it really just all depends on your preference. I do prefer the Primally Pure, again, because of the weight and just better overall maneuvering from what I've experienced, and the more notches you have here on the seam versus just the one notch here on the Audacité. It's fine, but you know, this one's on standby, and I should have just been more patient to buy the Primally Pure, but it's okay. I think it's nice to just give your face a massage. You know, there are muscles in your face, they need a little loving too, and when you have the right tool, I like after I'm done with the Gua Sha, I just feel there's more circulation, a little more plumpness, brightness. I am going to bed though. I'm doing this at night. I think also can be done before makeup application. A great opportunity if you have a photo shoot or a video shoot and you just need your skin, your complexion to look a little more vibrant. The Gua Sha massage, I think, will just help with that overall circulation, that flushness, and will allow your makeup to appear, I think, smoother on the skin because the skin is like, it's like ready to go, it's ready to take product. So I highly recommend this. I will post this down below in a link if you want to check it out. Now we're going into some channels that I recommend. First one up is the TheSalonLife, and this is Anna. She is a professional manicurist and nail technician. My favorite is her series, Anna's Nail Advice, where viewers will mail in photos of their nails and the challenges they're facing. So peeling cuticles or peeling nails, I mean, a slew of different nail issues. And what I appreciate about Anna's advice is that it is simple and actionable. Reasonable product recommendations, very much down to earth in terms of her approach. Not only that, but she goes into the science of the nail anatomy of things, you know, nail plates, cuticles, the proximal nail fold, living skin, so you could better understand the nail itself and then make, I think, more informed decisions about your nail routine, what products to buy. And what she suggests is just simple, like oil up the nails every time you wash them. And I've been doing that for an entire month. And let me tell you, the difference is profound, and it's not something expensive. I have been using my Good Molecules Ultra Hydrating Facial Oil. I just use this. It's a facial oil, but it's a lot of the oils that Anna recommends. I just put 1 drop, and that's all you need for both nails. I also got the Carousel that I put on. I started to put this on every night like a week ago, so I'm trying to be more consistent with this before bed because it does have urea and a couple of other ingredients that help with the just wearing of the dead skin that likes to accumulate around the nail or the living skin, as Anna suggests. That's why I would recommend you just watch her videos, because she's incredible in explaining all this. Right now I'm being so terrible. But one thing that Anna, I think, heavily encourages, which I find consistent in a lot of different industries when you want to see improvement in something, is consistency. She says you got to do this every day. You got to oil up your nail beds and skin every day. When you wash your hands, they are more prone to dryness, and they'll be more prone to scraggly cuticles. When you go to your nail technician and you want them to save the day, that's not fair to them, because you have to do your part in the maintenance. Same thing with my hair. I try to be consistent with my deep conditioning, with my oil treatments. Now I have included what Anna has suggested on her channel, the warm oil soak. I'm going to start doing that once a week. I did mine last night. After you've seen some improvement in your nail health, you could go to every 2 weeks. But again, I'll make sure to post her channel down below, because she also has her own Amazon store. So all the products she suggests on her advice videos, you can see those same products on her Amazon store, so it could be very easy for you to go shopping and support her at the same time. The next channel is NatashaAughey's channel, and I wanted to suggest watching her train, because I think in social media fitness land, there's still a lot of just misconceptions, just overall foolery about what it really is like to train consistently. Because a lot of these fitness influencers like, hey everyone, let's get it done. They're enthusiastic, you know, they want to do this, and sometimes you just don't. And I'm not saying Natasha is, you know, hating her workouts every time she starts them, but it's just this realistic delivery of when you are about to start, like, okay, let's do this. You can hear her breathing, her hard work. Like, it's rough. None of this comes easy. She is incredibly strong. Like, strong. Her work ethic is inspiring. So if you find it hard to believe that, or if you expect yourself to want to work out all the time, that you feel that every workout has to be a breeze, I think it's important to experience someone else's effort and a little bit of struggle, because that's what it's about. Like, lifting helps to build your resilience. That's why I highly recommend it. When you encounter an exercise or a lift that you know is going to be brutal, that like mental exchange that you have to do, that dialogue you need to have with yourself in order to get it done and finish it, self-improvement vibes, okay, all the way. And I just love it, because you just see her work out. There's no loud music. You just hear the clanking, her breathing, everything involved in a solid training session. And you can see what it really is like for someone to be consistent with this type of work day in, day out, over the course of several years. And no matter how long you do it, no matter how much you love it in the end, some days it's tough. Some days you don't want to do it. The workout sucks. It feels heavy. It's just terrible, but you still get it done. And she also is an anime watcher, so Bonus! And I'll also mention EthanChlebowski's channel. Like himself and Adam Ragusia, I think incredible channel resources to help with anyone when I was speaking about cooking. Just easy to follow methods, not just recipes, but strategies. And I think that's what Ethan is excellent at, where he breaks down the several ways to tackle food prep or to how to make a pan sauce, right? Not so much how to make this dish, but how to tackle the frameworking around cooking, like to establish these blueprints that makes it easier for the person to just go at it without having to reach for a recipe or figure it out. Like, you know how to sear now, you know how to bake, you know how to roast. So Ethan is incredible in delivering that material. I've used his channel several times over the course of the last month or two to help elevate my cooking. And again, it gives me confidence to try new things and just to try things on my own, because again, he gives you the framework and he allows for the viewer to use their imagination but have the tools at their hand to make it happen. Brushes. I wanted to start off with the 2 foundation brushes that I failed to include in my foundation brush video. Shame on me. The Rae Morris foundation brush. So this was one of her newer constructions or designs, I should say, from her 26 radiance. This is the one I showed in the video, but I failed to show. I think this is the 27. All synthetic. You can see I've used it well. And I have demo here. I forgot what I applied. It might have been the Hourglass or the House Labs. But what's unique about this brush is that it's super dense at the base, but has great flexibility towards the tip, which makes it ideal for paint down technique, for swirling and twirling. So again, very dense here, but it goes to this slope that adds that flexibility to the brush. So you get that density, but fluidity at the same time. It's synthetic, so it's not going to soak up as much product. It'll leave more on the skin, which will allow you to use less product overall. It has the magnetic base, so you could hook it up or magnetize it to the Rae Morris frame if you have it, or you got anything magnetic around, you just pop it right on there. Second is the Mizuho CMP15. My apologies. This, if I recommend one brush, it'll be this one. Especially for beginners. First of all, the price point, beyond reasonable. It's all synthetic. It's dome shaped and round. Soft, right? It's not too dense, but not too flimsy either. Best of both worlds. It just maneuvers the product beautifully across the skin. You know, whereas the Rae Morris one's going to give you more of like that. It's a little more direct, I feel, where the Mizuho just has really nice fluidity because of the medium density and the dome shape to the design. So I wanted to mention these two in my favorites video because I think these two definitely deserve a spot in my ultimate foundation brush video. But if I didn't see them, I was looking through all the other foundation brushes, and since I didn't encounter those, I didn't include them. My apologies. Going into powder brushes, my goodness. The Tonseido AQ20. This is Red Squirrel. Very expensive. It is so soft, but what's just phenomenal about this bristle type is its ability to softly lay down product in a way that looks airbrushed, silky, just barely there. The whisper-like application experience from the AQ20 is something I just embraced for the entire month of January ever since I received this brush. And yes, it is received from PR. I requested this to be sent from Fude Beauty, and I wanted to pick a red squirrel cheek brush that was moderately sized, one that you could use to apply loose powder with, to apply your cheek products with, and man, it's so versatile in that, especially when it comes to setting powders that I have visited as of late. I usually don't do the setting powder thing because I felt like I really didn't need it. Something that was also sent to me, one second, was the Makeup Forever Ultra HD setting powder. Now this is in tan neutral. I believe, yes, tan neutral. What's going on in my complexion right now, but if I use too dense of a brush, it's going to change the color significantly. But having a brush like the AQ20 just allows for a lighter application, just enough to set the foundation without overwhelming the skin, which is incredible. But what I also use this with, and you can see here in the demo, with Benefit Starla powder and another favorite, the Suqqu powder, melting powder blush in Koujizome 104, the orange. Oh my God. I'm gonna get into those in a minute, but the way this brush hugs the contours of my face, it just makes it effortless to feel where the makeup is going, how it is being blended, and the finished result is like airbrushed silkiness on my cheeks. Outrageous. It's limited in that you can't use it with liquid or cream, and I would wait a little bit until your foundation sets. If you love foundation and like to pack it on, not a great brush to set that wet foundation with. The foundation will ruin the bristles. These are very delicate, so I would wait until the foundation sets first. Then you could go in with your looser pressed powder, your cheek products, however you want to go. Just incredible. I did order the Chikuhoro Lunar New Year the Rabbit edition. It's still in the plastic. I haven't taken out. I just wanted to show that I have it. Okay, if you were wondering. I don't know if I'll dedicate an entire video to this, but it's one of those things, once I started with collecting every Lunar New Year collab Chikuhoro has, I just kind of had to keep going. That's how it is. And of course, Sonia G's Keyaki Buffer and Niji editions in the shorter handles. I have a video going over the details for these brushes if you want to check them out down below. These were sent to me as well, and just outrageous in terms of the fact that we have this beautiful fan brush in dyed Psycho goat hair, and now a shorter bristle brush in the buffer design, which I think essential in eliminating that powdered look to the complexion. If you like to layer on blush like I do, it get a little heavy, but once you just take this around for a ride on the portions of your face that you just need for it to look a little smoother, this one right here. And Rephr did come out with the sponge. I'm laughing because I'm not a sponge person, 100%. I still wanted to show this, so here it is dried, and it doubles in size when wet. It kind of looks like a beauty blender, 100%. It's very soft. It's not too dense, not too hard. You got the butt on the bottom, which people like to use to place foundation, blend in foundation, or use the pointed tip to get concealer under the eyes. The reason why I don't use sponges is because the maintenance, you gotta wash these things every time you use them. And I know people are not doing that. They'll apply their foundation, okay, leave it there to dry, next day just wet it again. Ill. You have to make sure you clean this every time you use it on your face. And sometimes it's frustrating because, like, no matter how many times you squeeze, it's like, why is foundation still coming out? Oh, that's right, because it's a sponge. It absorbs everything, which is why I find it frustrating, because I feel like I can never get this clean. Whereas with the brush, if the bristles got no makeup on them, I can see that it's clean. I can't really see that this is clean, even though I've washed it a million times. Foundation is still squeezing out. Why? So what I did here in the demo, if you do like to use sponges or want to use them sparingly, I just take it around my makeup because the moisture from the sponge, I think, allows the powders on the skin to melt better, so it looks smoother overall. So it's like a finishing step for me, and it'll take off excess foundation that sometimes might sit between the brows or even here around the mouth, you know. So that's kind of the role this sponge will play, but I can't guarantee that I will use it every time for that purpose, because again, washing this is a pain. I'd rather just use a brush for my foundation needs, but I do recognize the benefits. Yes, I get it. Where a sponge has the moisture, it just allows the makeup to look more skin-like and finish. when you're blending it out, when you're punching it into the skin. I know, especially under the eyes, where under eye skin can be drier, and to have that moisture in with the makeup helps the lay down and the finished result look smoother. So I'll have this link down below. I am an affiliate with Rephr, just want to let you know. I'm not going to use this to apply my foundation, but I might use it to finish off the final look for any refining. Now we've come to the makeup. You're like, finally. Makeup Forever sent me their HD Skin Face Palette. Ooh. And you know where this is made in? It's made in Japan. So here are the pros and cons about a face palette where you have all the colors in all the textures. They dub some of these as concealers, but I consider them to be concealer and or foundation. I have this in Harmony 2, which is the medium to deep. Don't know. So, okay. So the problem with this, despite how many shades are in here, you have limitations in that some might be a different undertone. It's not going to be exact. So I do mix these two together, and I'll just talk through the demo here so you can see it in action, where I use 2 of those shades for all over my face and the lighter shades for concealer. Not crazy about this consistency as my under eye concealer choice, in that it does look a little dry, in that although it looks fine at the beginning, it doesn't wear well throughout the day. On the rest of my face, it wears much better. So I rely more on my LYS concealer for under eye covering. I'll just use a little bit of the lighter Makeup Forever shade for brightness under the eyes, but I don't want that to be the majority of the product under my eyes. I tried the color correcting. It's fine. I don't think I need to use it. This consistency is a little stickier than the concealer consistencies in the rest of the palette. So not my favorite to deal with. I use it because it's there. And, you know, maybe there is a significant difference in me using a color corrector under my eyes versus not. But, you know, whatever. I do like the deeper colors for different contouring purposes, although don't know how deep this will go because this is Harmony 2. There's no Harmony 3. And even the deepest shade, you know, even though on me it looks deep, is because I'm in the medium tan realm, right? So there might be someone who's deeper complected than this that might not have a shade in the palette. So I think that's the one of the limitations with having a face palette. But you'll let me know if this color suits you well and where you are on the complexion spectrum. The consistency is beautiful. It's emollient but not slippy. It's not dry. It has the right consistency. It's not the longest wearing, however. So after a few hours, maybe around the 5-6 hour mark, I could see some wear around the mouth, definitely around the nose, because since this is the most oily part of my face, it breaks down a lot faster. I probably need to experiment with applying powder here first and then the Makeup Forever afterwards. That might improve the longevity. And again, because it is made in Japan, I think Japanese makeup usually they try to go for the most skin-like finish in their makeup complexion products, and why this is so lightweight in nature, where you have to be careful because you'll apply it and you're like, where's the makeup? Kind of like what I mentioned about the Patrick Ta foundation cream duos with the pressed powder and the compact, that you can't go overboard with this. You have to make sure you work in that first layer well, evaluate, and then go in where you need. Don't like overload the skin with this, because then it will look just makeup-y, a little too slippy, you know what I mean? Which is why I use the CMP15 with this, because this has great movement on the skin. It's soft, and I was able to work that texture in without it feeling rough or me having to use more makeup. And I thought, you know, the finished result was lovely. And then you have the blush shades here, which kind of look the same when you apply them on your face, but if you apply a little more, you could probably make out those nuanced differences in the undertone. The highlighter is lovely. It's a golden undertone. You definitely have to warm it up on or in the pan rather, just so it doesn't look uneven when you apply it. And I just like to go with my finger, you know, just make it very simple. And I think the finished result has like a beautiful glass skin effect, right? And since this is more golden, I like to place it a little lower here on the cheeks, especially because that's where light hits as well, in addition to my cheekbone. And having that wrap around the lower part, I think just has a beautiful glow to it. So that is the face palette. It's convenient. I think that's the most standout benefit from it. In addition to the formula, yes, especially if you know you're not going to wear this for a long period of time, I would seek out foundations like the Hourglass Ambient for longer wear. If you know you're going to be out and about and you need your face look fresh. I haven't experimented with this with using powder first and then this after. Maybe that will affect the long wear in a positive way. And this is not new, by the way. I think this has released already. They just sent it to me last month. I don't have to pack, you know, a full bottle of foundation and everything, or separate bronzing and highlighting and blushing. It's all here. If I wanted all cream products, I still pack Starla, my mini Starla, because that's just like the holy grail emergency blush shade for me. If I need a little something more, I could slap that on top of the cream blushes from the HD face palette, and it's all good to go. The Hourglass Unlock Satin Cream lipsticks. I bought these a little late because I was just trying to hold on, you know, not buy everything at once. Out of Alpine, Flora, and Larch. Larch is my number one shade, 100%. It is the rosy brown, which has cool girl 90 vibes written all over it. Easy to wear on its own, or if I wanted to add an eye look that just matches the vibe of Larch, I can easily do so. Creamy, just beautiful slip on the application, great wear, looks shiny on the lips but not glossy shiny. And I haven't bought new shades yet because I'm pretty happy with what I purchased thus far. I do have a few on my radar, but what I mentioned in my Hourglass video is the resurgence of love for Proper Beauty and their shades. So I have been wearing Finesse as well, which is like my go-to nude color for my skin tone. And I have plenty of nude favorites, but Finesse has just dug its way out of the drawer and found itself in my heart again. The Suqqu Melting Powder Blush, again, in Koujizome 104, the fresh orange shade. I apply this with the Starla Benefit Blush, okay? What I love about the orange shade from Suqqu is, it's not in your face orange. It's the perfect amount of flush, because it could look a little crazy on my skin tone with orange, right? Pinks, peaches, coral I could get away with. But if there's a little bit of orange, something that exists in the shade that I feel like it does in Starla, the Suqqu blush enhances it even further. And it creates just a gorgeous gradient where it is a little more orange on the center of your face, and then it goes into that more rosy bronze hue higher on the cheekbones. Oh my goodness, I wore this combination all weekend. I'm gonna put on more. I truly can't get enough of this shade. It's like crimsicle done right. You see, it just has that brightening effect without looking just literal orange. So the undertone, nailed it. Nailed it for spring 2023. In addition, the signature color quad in Kurumizome number 12, this maple brown shade. So although I received the Pat McGrath FetishEYES Longwear Liquid Eyeshadows on February 1st, I just had to show you what I did over the weekend. So I applied Platinum Bronze with this Maple Brown Matte, and then I applied, I think I have a picture of this, Smoldering Seduction with that matte brown. Oh my gosh, the smokiness, fam. So one photo I think I showed already was sunlight directly hitting my lid, so you can see the sparkle and the pearl reflectivity from these Fetish eyeshadows. But I went into less light so you could just see like the hue of the actual eye look, and so beautiful. And the versatility of this palette with the browns, and then you have this green gray shade. You know, if you just wanted to mix up the smoke, if you want a little more charcoal look on the eyes. And definitely have to mention, and I have it on now, their treatment wrapping lip products. On the lips now, I have number 3, Mitzah, the stylish brown. They call it stylish brown. This is the more orange leaning brown, the caramel brown, that's more my lip shade, and then the terracotta, which just has a beautiful like red rosy tint to it if I wanted to go makeup free on the rest of my face and just have a little bit of flush on the lips. The treatment wrapping lip, glossy, not sticky. It feels like my lips are being wrapped 100%. And the color, you see this monochromatic thing I got going on right now? Okay, I know. On the eyes, I have Bronze Bijou from the FetishEYES Longwears. In addition to this next favorite, I'm a simp for buying this, but I knew I was going to get this. It is the Christian Dior 10 Couleur 001 Mitzah edition. Okay, yes, the packaging is absolutely gorgeous, but really what seduced me were these shades right here. And just because these are eyeshadows doesn't mean these just have to be placed on the eyes, all right? I applied this terracotta shade. I say terracotta, it might be another type of shade, forgive me. Higher on the hollows. I have a demo using the whole palette. I want to do a Dior video this month, is coming. The consistency, the simplicity, I mean, I can't get enough. We've seen these shades before, but I just love how they're all together. I love how silky the powders are, how well they blend on the eyes and the cheeks. You gotta go light-handed though, because these are eyeshadows, so it could be a lot here. The shimmery shades, the more satin shades, these are all right. They're not like in your face glistening, but they do play a role if you want a little more highlight on the inner corners. This doesn't have the same metallic finish or even pearl finish. I would categorize this more opalescent satin, if you will. So this is great to travel with if you just wanted more monochromatic looks 100%, because the same color you will place on your cheeks, you will also place on the eyes. Ooh, and the toasty look I created with this palette, my goodness, I'm like, when summer comes, heck, I'm not even gonna wait for summer, I'm gonna do it right now. The combination of hues from this palette with the pinks and the reds and those toasted oranges just play so well together. And then I applied that terracotta shade through my crease with Bronze Bijou, Black Coffee on the lash line. Look at me. Look at me. I also simped out a second time. So this was a mistake. I thought I was getting one shade, but I was not. So do we remember the Dior Forever Couture Luminizers? One of my most favorite highlighter formulas from any brand. And I went on and on and on in my Charlotte Tilbury video that I don't need to buy them Charlotte Tilbury highlighters, okay? But I will buy a Dior highlighter. I do think they are better. They're shiny, more bright, not as powdery feeling. This is in the shade Golden Glow. I thought I was getting the coral shade, but for some reason, although on the back, on the box, it said Golden Glow, it didn't say Coral Glow. I was like, yeah, that's the one. I'm like, why did I buy that? I ended up buying Coral Glow anyway on Nordstrom's website, but Golden Glow, and I do have Nude Glow. You know, the subtlety, just, it looks like highlight that's radiating from within. It doesn't overwhelm the skin. It doesn't look dry. It's perfect. The downside, it does have fragrance. Surprisingly, the eyeshadow palette does not. I was shocked. I thought I was going to be enveloped by all the fragrance considering how huge that palette is, but it is fragrance free. Thank goodness. The highlighters are not, but I am happy to report the fragrance does dissipate. It doesn't stay on me all day. I don't get headaches from it. But Golden Glow is beautiful. I have swatches of Nude Glow, Coral Glow. Those are coming in another video. But I've been using the heck out of these Dior highlighters, which I do think are better than Charlotte Tilbury ones. You know, look at these cheeks, fam. Okay. So those were my simp purchases, I think, for the month of January. And although I'm mentioning the Pat McGrath FetishEYES in this video, they have made quite the impression on me. When I received them on Wednesday, I've been using them ever since then. Again, I have Bronze Bijou on the lid. I do want to order a few of the Lisa Eldridge shades, her Liquid Lurex shadows. I'm bummed that her chocolate bronze one is out of stock, but it kind of looks like Platinum Bronze or Smoldering Seduction. I want to get other shades that are not existing in the Pat McGrath lineup just to mix it up so I don't have like the same in a different brand, you know what I mean? So stay tuned for that. It might take a little bit. I haven't purchased them yet, and by the time I receive them and get to filming, you know, who knows when that video is going to come out. But I still want to do a comparison situation. So let me know if you want to see that. And lastly, we have made it, my gosh, an hour. The Holo Taco Barista Bundle. When I first wore these, you could see these nail polishes on like a few videos back. I had the entire gradient. So I started with the lighter color and then I went up to the deeper ones. It was so much fun to do. And I feel like no other way to wear these nail polishes, to experience the full spectrum of these hues, is the best way to go. Yes, it takes you a little longer, but so much fun. And you can see all the colors at once. But on these hands, I have Blushed Ice and Holo Cappuccino. Blushed Ice is like the more rosy gold shade, and this is a newer formula for Holo Taco. Let me grab the details on here. My apologies, I meant to have done this before I started filming, but this, I believe, is a new holo formula for the brand in a crushed holographic formula that sparkles in the light. So I think the actual particles are a little bigger than their typical linear holo formula. So I think that is the difference, and I can tell, like when you look at the bottle, the particles do look bigger, and when you shine light on these, they do have really nice sparkle on the nails. And on this hand, I think this is what I just picked up, Holo Cappuccino. So I have these two together. My goodness, I don't know what it is. The neutrals, man, they get me. That's how I felt about the Chanel nail polish that I have. Oh my gosh. Over the weekend, I have an Espresso Your Holo in this dark bark black brown. I know. Couture was a favorite because I think it's such a unique undertone. It almost leans lavender, doesn't it? It's lovely. And then you have Nirase Mocha, which is more of like a medium dark brown. I haven't been wearing anything else. They're so pretty. My apologies, I messed this up. This didn't dry all the way, and I put the dishwashing gloves on, and yep, that was a wrap. I'm gonna do these again tonight, but they're so pretty. Great with 2 coats. I go in with 3 just for reinforcement. Anna would tell me though that I need to take a break from nail polishing, which, yes, I understand. If your nails are damaged, probably good to give them a day, because nail polish, there was an ingredient she mentioned that's found in nail polish that could contribute to nail damage over time, or just will inhibit the healing process if your nails are severely damaged and they just require more treatment before they get into the nail polish. Then again, it's just hard for me because I love to polish my nails. It's like a thing I like to do and to practice, but I get the importance of taking that day. So when I do my warm oil soak, I'll just leave the nail polish off at least for 24 hours until I polish them again to give them a second. But the Barista Bundle though, it's just gorgeous. I can't get enough. And that is it. Those were my favorites of the month. I hope this was helpful in that maybe in this video somewhere, one of the items resonated with you, whether it was a cooking item, a channel I mentioned, brushes, orange blush, whatever that is, let me know down below, as well as what your favorites were for the month of January. And I'll see you in those comments, fam. Until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, cookware extravaganza, or maybe a vlog to show off my new cookware. Take care, and I will see you again soon.